The definition of a specialized practice or profession lies in the creation of boundaries. One specialization begins where another specialization ends. But what if another profession's boundaries deliberately attempt to bleed into the other's specialized practice? How do we begin to define and navigate this new terrain? These are some of the questions being raised in this critical inquiry on the practice of urban interior design. As this proposal attempts to provide answers to these questions, the inquiry also tries to examine critical debates and issues surrounding and inherent in this area of discipline. Design disciplines are generally characterized through their output in the form of designed objects, spaces, and environments. That being said, it is primary to consider the ethical implications in the creation of another discipline that transgresses the boundaries it had set for itself. As urban interior design finds itself straddling between the practice of urban design and interior design, who exactly gets to claim it as a subdiscipline? Whose methods will take precedence? This is in consideration of the assumption that for every discipline or profession, there is a high articulation of a particular way of thinking and methods of practice. Ultimately, can we begin to consider this new practice as innovative thinking, or simply and utterly just an encroachment into another's field of specialization? At the same time, it bears to examine the criticism that design professions are perhaps falling short of their professional and ethical missions. In the case of urban design, can the gaps in the practice be supported by interior design? But this also begs the question, why do these gaps exist? Is it perhaps due to a lack of awareness on the side of the public or within the profession itself? Or is this a pedagogical consequence? If so, then how can we begin to bridge these gaps? Engaging in the debates concerning this subject will have far-reaching implications on both the academic and professional fronts. The issues of ethics run deep in the design professions, not just in the way that colleagues and fellow professionals interact with each other, but also how design truly impacts the public they serve. Design in this respect is applied and practical ethics. If urban interior design has the power to mind the gaps in current urban design thinking, to what ends is it working towards? Can urban interior design provide a clear avenue through which we can enact ethical responsibility and consequently social impact and change? But that being said, can this also bring about change in the public perception of interior design as a profession that has largely concerned itself with aesthetics and decoration? Can this activate the interior design profession towards a more conscientious and socially relevant practice in the process? But a basic contention exists in the practice of urban interior design, even as we work with the assumption that it is a justified discipline insofar as ethics are concerned. The question of defining interiority is of major concern here. How are we to define and understand the interior in this context? In the field of interior design, the term interior has become more of an absolutist concept and one that is bound in the idea of enclosures and walls. How is this then applicable in the great urban outdoors? As interventions are geared towards the creation of urban interiors, we examine: how does the city parallel interiors? Practitioners of urban interior design contend that urban use and sociology do not differ from how we use interiors, and cities need to express a marked sensitivity and perhaps even intimacy the same way as interiors. But are intimacy and sensitivity really needed in public spaces that reinforce the need to a great degree anonymity? Are civility and urbanity really lost without these so-called interior qualities? The inquiry shall undertake a critical review of written literature on the areas of urbanism, interior design, design ethics, and activism to establish the theoretical underpinnings of the practice. Review of literature takes into account both historical and contemporary ideas and studies on the public realm, exploring possible justification for the merged practice of urban and interior design. In addition, the inquiry shall use case studies as a method to present various types of urban interior design interventions and the perceived changes and benefits these bring to the site where they are situated. These case studies not only can offer deeper insight into the field, but they can also be used as a source for further discourse and debate.